Good evening, everyone. This is the December 1st, 2021 Seminole County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. My name is Carissa Lawhon, chairman for tonight's meeting. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This board is a 7-member board appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. A quorum has been established to hold tonight's meeting. Public hearing items acted upon by this board are referred to the Board of County Commissioners for further consideration. Board members present tonight include Vice Chairman Stephen Smith, Commissioner Richard German, Commissioner Dan Lopez, and Commissioner Walter Grundorf. Staff present tonight are Mary Moskowitz, Planning and Development Manager, Paul Chipak, Deputy County Attorney, Bill White, Professional Engineer Development Review, Tammy Brushwood, Clerk to the P&Z Board, Doug Robinson, Principal Planner, Joy Giles, Senior Planner, and Annie Silloway, also Senior Planner. Tonight's meeting will be conducted as follows. Staff will introduce each item. The applicant will present the item. Audience members wishing to speak will next be heard. Please make sure that you complete a comment card and give it to the clerk. Comment cards are located out in the lobby. Audience speakers should restrict their comments to information directly related to the item being heard. Audience speakers will have 3 minutes to speak or 6 minutes if representing an official group. When called, speakers should approach the microphone and provide their name and address for the record. If you are participating by Zoom, please make sure you're ready and unmuted when called upon. Mary, we're doing a hybrid meeting tonight?
Yes, there is some audio problems though. Some of the microphones are on, some of them aren't.
The board may then ask questions of the speaker. After all speakers have been heard, public comment will be closed. The applicant will be given a chance for rebuttal. Any items shown, such as videos, presentations, pictures, or maps, must be left with the clerk for the public record. Items shown from electronic devices should be emailed to the clerk. A motion will be made and seconded. The board discussion may ensue and conclude with a vote. I will request a roll call vote for any split votes. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the proof of publication. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we've approved the proof of publication. Next, we'll do the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and the minutes are approved. Next, we'll move on to our technical review items. First, Rivers Edge Preliminary Subdivision Plan. Joy Giles, Project Manager, presenting.
Yes. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Peter. Hold on one moment. Sorry, guys. Can you try talking? Check.
Okay, check, check.
Sorry, guys. Check again.
Check.
It's frozen.
Oh, there we go.
The Zoom.
You got people in on Zoom.
Can you check one more time?
Check. Is that not going through for the...
Not coming through the computer.
While we're waiting, I have a comment card here from a Mickle and Lynn Mary Green. It doesn't say which item you want to be called on for. Item 3, okay, thank you.
Guys, I'm gonna, we just have to restart the Zoom meeting, so, sorry.
These technical items.
Mary, can we move forward with the technical items, or do we have anyone who wishes to be heard on those?
There are people in the Zoom meeting, so.
Sunshine between us. Thank God we get paid by the hour. Yeah, the big check, yeah.
So it's saying that it doesn't. You guys get paid?
You gotta have this.
It's the computer is not recognizing
Paul, can we move forward with the technical review items, since those are not public comment, or should we hold?
Well, typically, even though they're not technically public items, you do allow people to speak if they have a question. So again, not knowing who is on the line, the better practice is to wait until we have full access.
Well, hold on.
Since it has been advertised, that is a way to communicate.
There are a lot of people on too.
I'll take that for me.
Facebook events make it overloaded.
Well, what I'm wondering is, if we advertise it like this and we can't get it up, what then?
We'll have to at least make a reasonable effort.
Okay, Attorney Dan.
Hopefully no comments for the...
That's a good sign, right?
That's not a good sign. Service.
Lost internet. Lost internet.
Oh, yeah, completed?
They crashed the site.
You're kidding. Is that unique to the room or the whole building, or do we know?
I'm not sure if it's. Maybe the computer. I can go run up and grab my computer and see.
I would suggest we take a break for 10 minutes.
Okay. Go ahead and adjourn for 10 minutes, and we'll be back.
But there's no state statute or anything that requires us to have Zoom anymore, is there?
Got it, okay.
I think he's responding to that other person.
I don't know how to.
What you looking at, Tammy? What you seeing? It's Mary.
Okay, Todd here. The internet's on, but your audio.
I mean, there's multiple cables over here, but there's nothing unplugged yet.
So we've got sound, guys. I'm on my phone, we've got sound.
What'd she say?
I think we're ready.
Oh, 311, I'm using my phone.
Yeah, we all just said that. Tammy called like the after hours 3 line, left a voicemail, and just called now, but after Larry had it herself, so I think we're just going with that.
Okay, so we're ready to resume? Joy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mary, we're good?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and I'll recall item number 1, River's Edge Preliminary Subdivision Plan. Joy Giles, Project Manager, presenting.
Yes, good evening. Joy Giles, Senior Planner for the Planning and Development Division. This is a request to approve the River's Edge Preliminary Subdivision Plan located on the east side of East Lake Murray Boulevard, approximately a half a mile north of State Road 46. The subject property has a planned development future land use designation, which allows a maximum density of 3.1 units per net buildable acre. The PSP proposes 63 single-family residential lots on 134 acres with a minimum lot size of 5,500 square feet. The PSP complies with all conditions of the Seminole County Land Development Code and the River's Edge PD Development Order, which was approved by the Board of County Commissioners on August 11, 2021. The site is located within the City of Sanford Utility Service Area and will be required to connect to public utilities. Staff requests approval of the preliminary subdivision plan as requested.
Okay, questions from the board? Okay, is the applicant present?
Good evening, finally. Kim Fisher, 1614 White Dove Drive, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708. We agree with staff. We don't have any issues, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, questions of the applicant? Okay. Would any member of the audience like to ask any questions on this item? No? In that case, board discussion or motion?
I move we approve the preliminary subdivision plan for River's Edge subdivision.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a...
Before you vote, is there anybody on remotely, Mary?
No hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed? You're opposed?
I'm still opposed, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
very good. Moving on to item number 2, Myrtle Street Estates Preliminary Development. Joy Giles, Project Manager, presenting.
Yes, so this request is for consideration of the Myrtle Street Estates Preliminary Development Plan on 19.59 acres located on the north side of Myrtle Street, a quarter-mile west of South Sanford Avenue. The applicant proposes to develop a single-family residential subdivision on 19.59 acres with a maximum density of 2 units per net buildable acre for a total of 36 lots with a minimum lot size of 6,600 square feet. The subject site has a suburban estates future land use designation with A1 zoning, which permits a maximum density of 1 unit per acre with a minimum lot size of 1 acre. However, the site is located within the Urban Conservation Village Design Overlay, which allows a maximum of 2 units per acre when developed under a cluster design. Can you hear me? Is this, okay, just want to make sure. The development approval process requires a preliminary development plan, which is being brought before you tonight as a technical. I can't do that from here. The development approval process requires a preliminary development plan to be reviewed as a technical review item, which is being brought before you tonight, followed by the Board of County Commissioners for approval. Subsequent to approval of the preliminary development plan, a final development plan and developer's commitment agreement will have to go back to the Board of County Commissioners for either approval or denial. The intent of the Urban Conservation Village Design Overlay is to encourage a cluster design that promotes a much smaller lot size than seen in traditional zoning in order to preserve a greater percentage of open space for the residents. Let's see. So the design criteria for the overlay requires a 15-foot minimum width buffer around the perimeter of the development and a 10-foot buffer adjacent to Myrtle Street. The proposed plan is providing a 15-foot buffer on the west side and a 25-foot buffer on the east side and a 10-foot buffer adjacent to Myrtle. Structures can be located no closer than 35 feet from the perimeter of the development and no less than 140 feet from the center line of Myrtle Street. the development must provide a minimum of 50% open space exclusive of any wetlands and floodplain on the site. And this development plan does propose a minimum of 50%. Staff has determined that the proposed plan meets the intent of the requirements of the Land Development Code and therefore recommends approval of the Myrtle Street Estates preliminary development plan as requested. Thank you.
Questions of staff? No? Is the applicant present?
Hi again. For the record, Ken Fisher, 1614 White Dove Drive, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708. Again, we agree with everything staff had to say, and we're in support of it. And if you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions of the applicant? Seeing none. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment or ask a question on this item? Anyone on Zoom, Mary?
Yes.
Okay.
Michael Bristol is in, and he should be, needs to unmute himself to speak.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay, because I'm having problems. The audio coming from you all is cutting in and out.
Mr. Bristol, please state your address for the record.
4750 South Sanford Avenue.
Hi.
My property is adjacent on the northeast corner to the subject site.
What is your comment?
I had two questions I'd emailed, but I'm not sure if they came in time. One question was, I noticed that part of the code regarding the requirements for being in that area that was put up, there was a bullet list for the Myrtle Street Urban Conservation Village. Item F, talking about that would be connected to the central water and the sewer. I just didn't see on their plans where they were coming in with the access for those lines. Is that something that's available at this point, or is that a detail that will be done down the way?
Yes, that will be shown at the final engineering plans, but it is required to connect to public utilities.
I'm sorry, I heard something, but it didn't come through well at all.
This is going to be amazing.
Yes, sir, that will be required to be shown at final engineering, and they do have to connect to public utilities.
Are there public utilities in that area, though? We've got the water stops at South Sanford Avenue, 2 properties south of mine.
Yes, there is water.
Okay. The other question I had was just regarding the traffic impacts. As far as, has anything been done to look at the intersection at Myrtle and South Sanford Avenue? Expanding that, as it stands now, basically you virtually have to pull into the travel lanes of South Sanford Avenue when you're making the turn there. The way that everything, it just needs to be expanded. It's very narrow, and with the people coming down, like with the boats for like Jessup launch and stuff, it's often very congested. So I just wanted to see if that was part of this, if we're going to be looking at doing some improvements there.
It's part of this project. No, there won't be any improvements required at that intersection as part of this project. It'll just be improvements on Myrtle Street at their connection.
Okay.
Okay, I believe that's it, Chairman.
Okay, fantastic. All right, board, discussion, motion?
I do see where that I live over there near that area, and I do see that area right there, the turn lane there. That will be, if you add that many houses, it's just going to have more congestion there. Eventually, the county will have to improve that turn, or it'll be just a traffic mess in the morning and the evening. But I don't see any reason to not move forward with the project.
Is that a motion?
And just remind the board, this is a preliminary development plan, so it will come back to you as the master development plan.
It comes back as the PSP.
I'm sorry, it's the PSP for your technical review. Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Was there any other comments?
No.
That's it, okay. recommend the Board of County Commissioner approve the Myrtle Street Estate Preliminary Development Plan, contain 36 lots at 19.59 acres across A1 Agriculture, located on north side of Myrtle Street, approximately 1/4 mile west of Sanford Avenue.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, seeing none, the motion carries. We'll now move on to the public hearing items. Item number 3, Hidden Woods Reserve PD rezone. This has been continued from the November 3rd PNC meeting. Joy Giles, project manager, you're up again.
Yes, so this request is for a rezone from A1 to PD on 9.42 acres, approximately 1/4 mile west of the intersection of Virginia Avenue and Shepherd Street. The applicant proposes to develop a single-family residential subdivision of 25 lots with a maximum density of 2.8 units per net buildable acre. The interior lots will have a minimum lot size of 8,050 square feet, and the exterior lots will have a minimum lot size of 10,800 square feet. The property has a low-density residential future land use designation, which allows a maximum density of 4 units per acre. The site is considered infill development, as it's the only undeveloped property within a half-mile radius. The properties adjacent to the north, south, and east are developed as a single-family single-family residential under the R1AA zoning classification, requiring a minimum lot size of 11,700 square feet. However, some developments are part of antiquated plats that do not currently meet the minimum lot size. The West Altamont Heights subdivision, directly adjacent to the east, which encompasses the lots on Shepherd Street, Oakhurst Street, Ridgewood Street, and Alpine Street, range in lot size from 7,000 square feet to 14,000 square feet. This is not working. I'll let you do that. Due to multiple lots being combined together under one parcel. The site is located within the Seminole County Utility Service area and will be required to connect to public utilities. The applicant originally proposed access from Raymond Avenue contingent upon the Board of County Commissioners' approval to adopt the resolution to open Raymond Avenue that was previously closed in 1996. At the November 9th, 2021 BCC public hearing, the board voted to deny adoption of the resolution. Therefore, Raymond Avenue will remain closed, and the applicant is proposing access from Oakhurst Street. Oakhurst Street is currently classified as a substandard local road. Therefore, the developer will be required to improve the road to county standards for road width, pavement, and sidewalk. Staff finds the proposed development to meet the intent of the PD zoning classification by providing the minimum 15% open space, providing perimeter buffers ranging in width from 10 feet to 15 feet, and providing an internal transitional lot size. Staff also finds the request to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and compatible with the trend of development in the area for density. The existing low-density residential future land use designation does allow a maximum of 4 units per acre, and the proposed plan is requesting 2.8 units per acre. In compliance with recently adopted community meeting procedures, the applicant did conduct a community meeting on October 14th, 2021. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 to PD and approve the associated master development plan and development order as requested. Thank you.
Okay, questions of staff?
Yeah, I have a question, Joy. The easement, does the county have enough easement on Oakhurst Street for them to widen it, or do the improvements they have to?
Bill, is it? It's 20 feet.
Yes, the current, or Bill White Development Review, the current right-of-way width is 60 feet out there for Oakhurst.
Okay, so they just have to upgrade, they don't have to require any easements at this point?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions of staff? Is the applicant present?
Thank you, Chair, board members. My name is Rebecca Wilson, 215 North Eola Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. I have a brief PowerPoint that I'll share with you, but since we were here in November, as Joyce stated, the BCC had a robust, I think it was about a 3-hour discussion on how this property should gain access, and it was decided to keep Raymond closed and for us to gain access from the east. So we have resubmitted our plans to do that. As Joy pointed out, the location adjacent to I-4. Let's see. Currently, it's A1, and again, we're asking for a zoning that's consistent with the low-density residential. This is our concept plan, and I just wanted to point out a couple of things. So we are requesting a PD zoning category, and one of the benefits to the county with the PD is there are required buffers. So we are having to give a 10-foot buffer on the north, a 10-foot buffer on the south. So those buffers are not part of people's lots, but will be buffers that are preserved and maintained by the HOA. There is also an existing 30-foot unused right-of-way to the east that provides a nice buffer. Again, these are the same uses, but these are new homes, so there's a 30-foot buffer. We are requesting on that east side for an additional, we will give an additional 10-foot buffer. So from those homes on the east, that will be 40 feet. And I just want to point out that the development order that's in your package still has where we would have on a portion of the east side 15 feet and then on another portion 10 feet. And that was a holdover from our original request when we were going to open Raymond. I believe staff wanted 15 feet for us to have some extra room for potential drainage. But I just want to be clear, we're just asking for 10 feet, and that's 40 feet in between single-family home to single-family home. Another thing that we are being required to do by staff, that they can do this since we're a PD, is dedicating 25 feet of right-of-way on the north side. So that will actually have a full 35 feet of space before you get to the rear of any of these lots. Your PD also requires at least 15% open space, so we will have to provide that in addition to the open space that will be on these lots. As your staff mentioned, your future land use allows 4 dwelling units an acre. We're requesting only 2.8 units an acre, and they have found that this is compatible with the surrounding trend. So those are 90-foot lots on the perimeter and then 70-foot lots on the interior of that. So our smallest lot size is 8,050, and as staff said, in those older plats on Oakhurst, Alpine, and I forget all the names that come into there, they have some that are as small as 7,000 square feet. And then just one point I wanted to make about the request related to Oakhurst. If you look at the development order that's before you, K and L are a little different than complete county standards. So what we asked and what was included in the development order, as Mr. Smith, as you pointed out, the right-of-way is 60 feet on Oakhurst, but the pavement is not currently built to a 60-foot width. Mm-hmm. And people have trees and mailboxes and things that is technically within county right-of-way. But we certainly don't want to come in and cause more of a disturbance than is necessary. So what we've asked, and my understanding is the pavement there is from between about 16 to 18 feet. So what we've asked is to improve that to a 20-foot minimum, and that we would come in and resurface that roadway, but keep it 20 feet so there's as little disturbance as possible, to not have to keep the swales that are there in people's yards. And there was concern at the BCC about sidewalks. And so we're asking to do a sidewalk on one side, and that sidewalk would go all the way to Virginia. We need to get further into our engineering to understand which side of the road makes more sense, and those plans, of course, have to come back to you just like the plans came back to you before. But that is part of our request. Ultimately, your recommendation and the BCC will decide if we have to do full county standards or this kind of reduced, I would consider it more rural standard. So we're happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Okay, questions of the applicant? No? Okay, we have some members of the audience who'd like to speak. And I also have quite a few comment cards here from those who do not wish to speak but still want their comments to be noted, as well as quite a number of petitions. So while we're hearing from those in the audience, I'll go ahead and pass these around for the members of the board to review. And we will begin with Jim Carey. Mr. Carey, come up and state your name and address for the record.
Just put it with these.
My name is Jim Carey. Thank you for having me up here. I live at 209 Ridgewood Street, Altamont Springs, 32701. I got a couple of slides to talk about it. First of all, I want to thank the applicant for bringing the community together. Joy mentioned an October 14th meeting. I don't know anything about that meeting, but every third lot has a Stop Hidden Woods sign on it right now. So, at the last community event, this is our third event now, okay? We've put a lot of time into this. We still don't even have the package you're looking at. I'm finding out things just today that, we just don't know. So we were told basically that the lot size that they're asking for is based on some average of what's going on around the community. I used your map here, and if I could point out a few things. Is there a microphone I can
Right here.
pick up?
Yeah. You can come over here. Well, you can come over here.
Oh, he's coming here? Okay. Okay, what you see here, do you have a pen or something? Oh. This is the corner size of the house lot right next to it, right? If you take 25 of them, it fills the entire space. Graphically, we haven't seen a layout, but we use the smallest lot size. And you can look around here. There are lots of lots that are smaller up here. But this is an average. This is a medium size. Nobody mentioned a medium size earlier. We didn't say medium size. We took this like 7,000 square foot. My question is, are we going to be able to then split our lots and make multiple ones? So that's what 25 homes looks like based on by the current community lot and a medium. So what would 20 homes look like? If we use that medium lot, 20 homes pretty much takes it up. There's no room for a water retention, right? We've got none of that, right? So are we going to an R3 here? Where does this stop? If we look at 15 homes and then we put their water retention plan in, that may be doable. That may leave room for 15 medium-sized homes and a water retention. Well, look, 15 homes leaves room for little else. Right, this 25 lot request, it's nothing more than the accountant's paper analysis, okay? 25 lots is going to bring more profit. That's what we've been here for. The south access, the last time we came here under an agenda item of lot size, and we had to go to the commissioners to fight a whole nother battle, right? We haven't seen any of the plans. When I moved here, there was dirt roads, and now we're complaining about the size of a curb. Really? We're not looking at this thing from anything other than of accountant's review. First, it's bait and switch, right? The community's been, you've been told twice now that the community's okay with this. I'm here to tell you, 50 people that showed up at the commissioners' meeting, the 200 people that signed the petitions represent thousands of community people that said no to one person, one applicant, guys. We're running out of time here, I know, but I mean.
Mr. Carey, please wrap up.
We've got a lot of questions that we need answered. None of them are being asked. Where are the animals going to go? Where are the tortoises going to go? What about, where's the water going to come from? Does the DOT allow that kind of a retention pond right next to their 30-foot wall that's just been put in, right? I need you guys to kind of step up, because right now, we're like advocates for the community, and we got no advocates here. If we don't come up and say anything, nothing gets asked, and it's okay, everything gets approved, the staff's okay with it, you're okay with it. We are not okay with this.
Okay, Mr. Carey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Steve Shard.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Allen Shard. I live at 301 East Citrus Street in the corner of Virginia Avenue in San Leandro Springs, AKA West Altamont Heights. I'm a design professional. I've designed over 600 projects in my lifetime, and a lot of it has been land planning and community design development, and a lot of it local. And it was my impression that the developer was seeking a zoning change from agricultural to R1AA, consistent with the surrounding West Altamont Heights / San Leandro Springs and Hidden Cove areas. After reading the current request, the developer is now asking for a change to a planned development. It's been my experience with developers that I've worked with who are granted a PD with the stated intention of keeping the integrity of the neighborhood usually change their minds afterwards when they do the cost-benefits analysis and they get county approval. Then they can do what they want, building the equivalent of what I term like the Crane's Roost Villas, which is right across the street from my house. Once they're granted a PD, they get to write their own rules, and then there's no stopping. I think this is a dangerous prospect. I'm willing to work with staff and the developer to accomplish a satisfactory development plan for the county, the neighborhood, and the developer. Otherwise, I cannot support such a zoning change. If the developer can't accept an R1AA zoning, I don't think they should develop the property. This is the last parcel of undeveloped land in this area, and most people I've spoken with when I walk the neighborhood on an almost daily basis don't want to see the property developed at all. They want it to remain as natural as possible. It's the only natural thing we've got left. Some will accept a compatible project with a contiguous neighborhood, but I've only found 2 who have said they're okay with it. An alternative that I'm proposing to develop the property as a park for the surrounding community, as I described in my written comments on November 9th. Since then, I've spoken to several people who are involved in the dissolution of the Rolling Hills Golf Course. They suggest that the new parks program for Rolling Hills include walking, hiking, bicycle trails, and again, I don't know what's already on that list, but a picnic area, a small 9-hole par 3 golf course with no water hazards or sand traps, perhaps a softball field and/or a Little League baseball field. Such amenities would have more to offer, be more easily accessible than having to drive all the way around to the Seminole softball complex. It would also satisfy the people surrounding Rolling Hills who bought their property with the intention of having golf front property in perpetuity, which they've now lost. Leaving the 10-acre property undeveloped would require that the county purchase the property since it is for sale, and for the property appraiser's market value of $620,544, and then selling it to all the property owners for that price, which would amount to a one-time assessment of approximately $310 per household based on 2,000 properties within the area defined by North Street on the north, Palm Springs Drive on the east, Central Parkway on the south, and I-4 on the west.
Okay,
Now,
Mr. Shard, please wrap up.
Okay, so that's my suggestion. I would suggest that you review it carefully because there are other alternatives that we have that would satisfy the people. And as the last speaker pointed out, very few people are in favor of this property being developed. I did a design sketch of it, but I didn't even bring it because it's not worth it to even bring it up, because nobody wants to see this project developed. And if it is developed as a PD, you're going to find a lot of backlash come through the people, the 2,000 people who live in that area, including me.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a lot of people that we need to hear from tonight, so we're going to strictly adhere to the 3-minute rule. If everyone could please help us and observe that going forward. Next, we'll have Nick Anderson come up. Mr. Anderson, can you come up and state your name and address for the record?
Hi, my name's Nick Anderson, and I live at 156 Raymond Oaks Court in Altamont Springs. And I guess first off, when I saw the presentation from the developer, I was confused because this says they're asking for 25 lots, but the plan that they showed only had 23. And the same with their plan sheet that they have here, where the limit of the minimum size of their plots is different from on what they showed and larger than what they show on these plans. So that's confusing to me. I'd like some clarification on that. And if you take a look at the plats in the area, if you take the 7,000 like they're saying, yes, that's the minimum. Those were like grandfathered in because they were already there. If you want to grandfather in for houses that are already on this lot that are 7,000 feet, sure, but there aren't any. So if you take the average size, even including those 7,000 square foot lots in the area, you come up with 12,900 square feet as an average. They're talking about having their whole interior be about 9,000 square feet, which is 3/4 of the size of the average of the area. So my big concern is that if they would build in this area, first off, like the previous speaker said, if they get the PD zoning, they'd have free reign to do what they want. Secondly, if they do this current plan, which we don't even know what it is because, as I said, they showed one plan here, another plan somewhere else, they will not, I'm concerned that they will have too much traffic in the area, too many people, and the sidewalk in the neighborhood, as long as they talk to the neighbors, I'm okay with that, but I just wanted to make sure that they get community input and buy-in, and that does not seem to be happening right now. But let's see, the minimum of 11,000 square foot specs is obviously not being met there, although they're saying that that's good because of the exceptions in the area, which, like I said, if you grandfather things in, it doesn't set the new standard for Lowe's. So that's all I really have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Jeff Singletary.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Singletary. I live at 119 Raymond Oaks Court. I am president of Raymond Oaks Homeowners Association, and I'm here representing 38 other members in my subdivision who signed a petition that was submitted to all of you and the Board of County Commissioners as well. And there's another 138 petitions that were submitted to you from West Altamont Heights. And in those petitions, it was clearly stated that we are highly opposed to lot sizes under 11,700 square feet. And we feel that in order to be fully compatible with the character of the adjacent and surrounding neighborhoods, that this will be something we have to pay very close attention to. In the event that the applicant does get to move forward, there is a concern in our neighborhood, Raymond Oaks Homeowners Association, about water pressure. Right now, on an average day, our water pressure is fair to good. It is my understanding the south side of Raymond Avenue, there's a water main there that will be tapped into to support the water in this subdivision, Hidden Woods Reserve. I'm just curious, has any analysis been done? Has any water pressure studies been done as to what the impact could possibly be to us in Raymond Oaks Homeowners Association? And if you would put that up. And just one last item. On this visual here, it is also my understanding that in the event that the project did go forward, that what you see right there is the right-of-way that we just recently had closed by Board of County Commissioners. And our concern is that upon tapping into the sewer line, which I believe terminates right where that PVC fence is, upon tapping into that sewer line, this right-of-way, which Hidden Woods Reserve and Raymond Oaks Homeowners Association has been taking care of for over 20 years, our concern is that this area gets destroyed. So my question is, who's responsible for putting it back? The sidewalk, the PVC fences, the vegetation, and all that area that we've been taking care of for years. So that's a question I have. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mickle Green.
Mikhail Green, 316 Tangerine Street. I don't have any diagrams or any of that kind of stuff. But what I have, I've lived there about 10 years. Most of the neighbors that I talk to have been there 30 and 40 years. I'm more concerned about opening up any streets and putting more houses where there's going to be more traffic. There's a lot of kids in our neighborhood. I already myself pull over cars doing 50 miles an hour in our neighborhood, and it's already a cut through to the mall, a cut through to the other side of Palm Springs and Black Hammock, and I'm just a little concerned about the traffic flow. I mean, more and more cars, more and more people. My neighbor almost got ran over one day walking her dog, and it's just the traffic. And we already deal with the traffic already, and I just think that's going to be a huge problem when you open it back up. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Klein. Karen Klein.
Yep, thank you. So my name is Karen Klein, and I live at 224 Shepherd Street. I just wanted to step up and say that I am very much opposed to this development going in. This is an established neighborhood. Houses have been there for a really long time. This is a traditional, most homes are single-story. I'm not sure what they have planned for what's going in on the other area. The biggest concern that I have is traffic. We are a small community. The traffic flows through that area. Where I'm on Shepherd, thankfully, they're not talking about that one, is a dead-end street, and now you're talking about opening up Oakhurst and putting traffic through there. And then now you're going to widen that road, and you're going to change the whole character of that road. It will no longer fit in with the character of the other roads within that neighborhood. It's going to become some type of thoroughfare. The loss of trees off of this parcel of land will now most likely cause an issue with noise from I-4. That's a big swath of land, 10 acres, to go in. It's heavily treed. I don't know if you've seen photos and stuff of it. It's heavily treed. Once you lose all of that, then noise from I-4 will likely drift even louder than it already is. There's also the loss of wildlife habitat. Owls, hawks, turtles, all kinds of stuff live within that 10-acre parcel, and we see them all the time. I estimate that if they're going to put in this 23, 25 homes, you're probably going to see an additional, 50 cars of daily traffic going in and out of that area, plus delivery vehicles. That's Amazon and FedEx and UPS and all the others delivering parcels to them along with tradespeople. Because we all know they're moving into new homes. They're going to be doing all types of improvements and adding things to those homes. It's going to be a big impact on the neighborhood and stuff with that. It's also going to increase the difficulty getting out of Virginia onto North Street. That intersection coming off of Virginia and turning onto North Street to get towards I-4 is already sort of a little bit sketchy to get through. You've got a hill, and the corner to get around is a little tight and all that kind of stuff, and now you're going to have even more traffic that comes through there. So I just want to say that this project is going to change the culture and the vibe of the area, and I am very much opposed to it.
Thank you very much. Lawrence Ewald.
Good evening. My name is Lawrence Ewald. I live at 221 Oakhurst Street, directly adjacent to the property. I will be front and center to everything. The destruction of the trees, the noise, the pollution, the traffic will go right in front of my house or right beside my house. Some of the issues that we have here, some of the concerns that I have, and I've already submitted this to Joy as part of through the email this morning to be added to the record, and I also submitted petitions in a binder through UPS, which I believe she got as well. We're all opposed to it. I've talked to about 30 different people in the area. No one really wants this. Some of the concerns that we have, of course, is the zoning of the R1AA, which is what the rest of us have presently. As I said earlier, future plan development, they can do whatever they want to after it's approved. They kind of do things on the backside. The lot size shouldn't be anything less than 11,700. That's your code. R1AA says that is the minimum code, so that's what it should be. The 25 to 30-foot green belt buffer that's on the side, they've already addressed that, which thank you for that. As far as access, having Oakhurst at 18.2 feet on average width for the actual street, it's not wide enough. We request that you don't do anything. No infrastructure changes. Don't take down the trees. Don't add in sidewalks. If you do anything, if you approve it and you do anything, add in speed humps and a ribbon curb. That's it. Because when you do speed humps, at least it'll slow down the main drag that you're going to get from Virginia all the way in. And it'll be a straight drag. People speed down there already as it is. There's a couple kids that live on the street that just fly. So that's pretty much it. We really kind of don't really want it around, but that's kind of where we're at. It should say, is if you do approve it, keep it at R1AA, minimum 11,700, which will reduce their property, I think, down to 17 pieces. Future planning as far as streets, they could use Oakhurst and Shepherd if it stays at, if you approve R1AA. That way it'll keep it as a U, it'll keep the traffic minimum, it'll divide the traffic between the two streets, so my house doesn't get all of it, man. All of it. So that's all I got. Got any questions? Give me a shout. I left all my information as part of the documentation, so thanks.
Thank you. David Larson.
Good evening. My name is David Larson. I live at 160 Raymond Oaks Court. I represent 176 homeowners, 38 of which have signed the petition that you're in receipt of from Raymond Oaks, and 138 from West Altamont Heights. After speaking with the neighbors of mine, we're opposed to lots smaller than 11,700. I look at the county records for within 1,000 feet of this development, and every single zoning for those single-family homes is R1AA, 11,700 feet. I would ask you why we as a county, why we would want to treat this developer different than we've treated those neighbors. I personally was turned down 18 years ago for a request to the board at 201 East Alpine Street when I owned 2 lots. Wasn't allowed to build on them. I had to combine them. They're 16,000 feet, the lot, and I complied. And I'm sure there's many other homeowners. I couldn't find a case in 40 years where a home's been allowed to be built anywhere near there on less than 11,700. So how can we as a county turn down every single homeowner but approve a developer to build on less than 11,700? I just don't think that that's even reasonable, that we treat this developer different than we've treated the citizens of Seminole County. There is, one person mentioned 2,000. I only measured, I didn't include any of the condominiums or townhomes down along Central Parkway, but I know there's over 1,000 homeowners that are directly impacted by this. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just all the comment cards that I have here. Is there anyone else here in the audience tonight who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this? Okay, come on up, bring your comment card, please.
Hi, I'm Debbie Kazart. I live at 1871 North Street at the corner of Virginia and North. I'm not really impacted by this at my location, but being a traffic hawk, it intrigues me. And my question is, why can't this property be developed as a contiguous part of the neighborhood? Why does it have to be walled off and segregated? Why can't Shepherd and Oakhurst and Hidden Woods Cove be opened up for access? That mitigates the traffic from any one road. I know there are regulations that they have to bring the roads up to code, but Andrea Herr made a very good point in the BCC meeting. And her point was that it should be distributed over multiple roads. It would be unfair to ask the developer to bring multiple roads up to code, and that should be relooked at. But why is there any reason that any of these roads should have to be brought up to code? Widening these roads are only going to increase traffic speeds. It's going to, and if they're straight on, that increases traffic speed too. But if the developer took Oakhurst and the other street, can't remember the name right now, and when it enters onto their property, put a little S-curve on it, that acts as a traffic calmer because people have to slow down. So they don't have a 2-block section that they can pick up speed. So that would be my suggestion. I think we need to look at this a different way and make it a cohesive part of the existing neighborhood, not a segregated section unto itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Wynn Adams. I live at 646 Fellowship Drive in Fern Park, Florida. And the reason why I'm here is I was the county commissioner at the time this area was being developed back in the 90s. And my suggestion to you is don't change the zoning from R1AA. It will mess up the looks of the area. We had a major discussion about that back in 1996, and all 5 county commissioners said, well, number one, we will not permit cut-through traffic, and we stopped that. And if you take a look at how the roads were designed, there were certain roads that they just stopped. They went over a path, and then they started again. But I think you'd be making a mistake if you change the look and feel of that neighborhood. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Bauer, 423 Eagle Circle, Castleberry, Florida, 32707. I have family that live on Ridgewood Street, and they couldn't be here tonight, so they asked me to be here for them. One of the things that this project, when it was first made, the public was made aware of it about 1.5 years ago. The things that the applicant has consistently said is they want to be good neighbors. They want to have community input. They don't want to put a burden on the residents that are adjoining his property. The problem we have had is what the question for this rezoning request is, are there going to be unintended consequences? One of the requests, unintended consequences that I would ask this board to consider by changing the rezoning from R1AA to PD is to consider the fact that West Altamont Heights neighborhood is currently a septic system. The majority of these homes on Oakhurst have their septic systems in their front yards, inches, a few feet away from where the county right-of-way is. If, depending on how much of the road has to be taken to bring it up to county standard for this plan as it is proposed now, you are putting the drainage fields in conflict with the road. So what I would suggest is not all the residents are against the idea of development. What they want is they want smart development. They want a plan that will have the least amount of impact while still allowing the applicant to exercise their property rights. This plan is not it. They need to go back, and what I would suggest is the community wants to work, wants to be a partner to find the best solution for all people and properties involved. Have another community meeting, consider some of these things like the septic fields coming into conflict on Oakhurst so that unintended consequences are not going to harm pre-existing property owners in these roads. Thank you.
Kevin Musante, 241 Shepherd Street. I'm a bit of opposed to this. I don't want you to see this under 11,700 square feet. I don't want my road widened. I certainly don't want any freaking sidewalks installed in there. And I agree, most of our houses on that street, you better look at them. Some of them are not hooked up to water. A lot of these people have well. I had well water until they put that stupid community behind my house. I lost my well. all right? Why don't you guys look at coming in from North Street? Come along I-4. Yeah, there's a pond there. You made it. You can change it. You can add it. You can come in from that direction as well. You need to put speed bumps in our neighborhood. If you piss off that whole neighborhood, you guys will all be removed from the board. There's a couple thousand people there. Y'all need to think about that. Work with this neighborhood and work with us. Don't piss us off. Y'all have a good one.
Sir, did you fill out a comment card?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mary, who do we have on Zoom?
Madam Chair, we have IT here to help with the sound, so what I'd ask is for a 5-minute recess so we can fix that. The people on Zoom will lose video for a few minutes, but then we will have good sound and good connection for everybody.
Okay, very good. Let's recess for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our meeting's going to resume. Mary, who do we have on Zoom?
Okay, the first person I'm going to allow in is Maria. Okay, she is in the meeting, and she just needs to unmute herself to talk. You need to unmute.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Maria, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name's Maria Fernandez Pittman. I'm at 200 Alpine. And I just want to kind of echo what the theme of this evening is, in that if we are going to do a rezone, we need to keep it with the R1AA, no larger than 11,700 square feet, just to be compatible with the adjacent neighborhood. And then also, I live at 200 Alpine Street, and there was an image shown earlier of this like walking path and how that would probably be torn up to lay utilities and everything, and that would directly affect me and my family. And so I also just want to take into consideration who's going to be responsible for putting that back together once it's been removed and added and whatever else needs to happen to make the neighborhood happen. So I just want to make sure that all the due diligence is being done with the project. It's probably most likely going to happen, and it is what it is, but we just want to make sure that respect to the rest of our neighbors is being taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary, who's next?
I have no other raised hands.
Okay, then at this time, we'll close public comment. Would the applicant like an opportunity for rebuttal?
Thank you, Chair, and I'll be brief. I just wanted to, you all see this process played out a lot, and so just wanted to remind you that there is already a future land use on this piece of property for 4 dwelling units an acre. The Marasco family has owned this piece of property since 1966. They saw Raymond Oaks to the south of them be built. They saw the San Lando Springs to the north of them built, and now it's the time that they would like to develop their piece of property, and we are requesting planned development rezoning. I don't know we have never requested the R1AA. This property has never had a zoning of R1AA. It has the same ag zoning as it did when this family purchased it in 1966. In fact, when they bought it, it didn't have a future land use plan because that wasn't adopted until, I think, the late 80s or 90s, when this property was given 4 dwelling units an acre. With respect to the comment that, well, once we get a planned development, we can do absolutely anything we want to with it, that couldn't be further from the truth. The planned development is set forward in a development order, which we received all of this information from staff, from the online, when it was put online for the public to see. So we had no sooner knowledge of the staff report or this development order, but that development order specifically sets forward the buffers that are being required, the lot sizes that are being required, the setbacks on those lots that are being required, and the open space that is being required. One of the reasons that we believe, and I'll let your staff speak to it for themselves, that the planned development is the better way to handle this for the county is because of the set aside of these buffers that will remain to the greatest extent possible natural buffers. If we go R1AA, what I think an unintended consequence for the neighbor is there's no requirement for buffers and there's no requirement for that 15% open space. So those things that we are setting aside as natural buffers to give these neighbors the best we can, the same feeling they have to their current neighborhood, those go go away and they become part of someone's backyard. And they can cut down those trees, they can put, accessory units back there. And we believe that one of the advantages to the PD is that we are creating these buffers on the outside. Another advantage to the county is there is needed right-of-way on the north side, which, because we're a PD, it's negotiated, and your county negotiated that we give up those 25, or the width of 25 feet across the north that will then become county property. With respect to what was submitted versus the concept plan, the gentleman is correct. We have requested, because this is zoning, so it's the bigger picture, we did request 25 total units. As we have begun to get into our engineering, as you all know, that number never goes up, it always comes down. We think that we're going to be able to fit 23 units on the site. That has to come back to you all where we show you our configuration. At that time, we also have to show you how we make connections to water and sewer. There is a water line that goes up that 30 feet of Raymond. It's one of the reasons that the county has never abandoned Raymond altogether, right? If you wanted to close it, the easiest way to close it is just to get rid of it. But they've kept that because there is a water line in there. We also believe there is another water line that comes from the east. So to the gentleman's point, we do have to go out and check pressures and see which of those lines we will be using. The county, of course, requires that if we disturb any of the property that's within that right-of-way, we then have to put it back. And with regard to the street width and location, we agree with the neighbors. One of the things we find appealing about this neighborhood is its character, and it has that more rural character when it comes to the street widths. So if you have 60 feet of current right-of-way, no one can have their septic drain fields within the 60 feet of county right-of-way. If we're required to improve 20 feet of that, that leaves 20 feet on either side for any extra room that might be needed for these drainage fields. If there's anything else that you all heard that you'd like me to address, I'm happy to do that. Again, we're simply requesting a zoning that is compatible with the existing future land use. I appreciate your time tonight.
I just have one question. Is this going to be gated community?
It is not gated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Very good. We'll go now to board discussion, board questions.
I have a couple.
Actually, before we move to that, I wanted to make one comment that came up during the recess. Staff did go back and listen to the BCC meeting and found that even though the proposed development order that we're looking at tonight states that sidewalks are a requirement, that is actually not the case. Those would be at our discretion. So that would be something that when we make a motion later, we could specify whether or not I know a lot of people are saying that they're not interested in sidewalks here tonight.
But there wouldn't be sidewalks on Raymond either, because Raymond still fronts Raymond wouldn't be there at all in front of their...
Correct. Yeah, because Raymond's not part of it.
It would just be Oakhurst.
It would be internal to the subdivision if it did not go down Oakhurst, that's correct.
Are you good with the 20 feet of pavement instead of, say, 22, which would be county standard?
Yeah, well, 20 is our minimum.
Is minimum, okay.
Is our minimum standard, yeah.
And the road would have to be improved or just repaved, or does it have to be widened at all? If the people don't want it widened, does it have to be widened?
Well, staff's recommendation is that it would get widened to 20 feet and resurfaced, but the board, at their discretion, could choose to keep it at the 18 feet if they so desired, and just resurfaced it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith, go ahead.
What about, would you even consider reducing the lot size or increasing the lot size to 11,000 feet?
No, sir. And again, if we were to do that, that would push us into R1A, and the county loses all of those buffers and the open space. So we would like to stay with the flexibility that's in the PD.
But this would be the only area that would have any buffers. I mean, nothing else has any buffers within the whole area. So this would be the only site that has buffers.
Yes, sir, that is my understanding. And again, the intention with the buffer was to try to address some of the concerns that we heard tonight, which was we enjoy this being a natural area, and this gives us the ability to keep portions of it natural. Remember, when you're driving down Oakhurst, where we make that connection, there's currently 30 feet that is right-of-way, and we'll add another 10 feet to that. So there will be a 40-foot natural buffer that remains before you get, driving down Oakhurst to get into this neighborhood. So if you lived on Oakhurst, to the greatest extent possible, you would still have the same view and feel from the road until you made a choice if you came, onto our street.
I guess I'm getting the impression from the folks that came up here tonight that the buffer around this is not as important as the lot size.
I can't speak for them, but I don't know if they would want to give up that buffer and just have this, because right now that buffer is not counted in our lot size. So when I say something has to be around the edges, it has to be the 10,080 square feet of a lot. Then you add another 10-foot of buffer between our lot and their lot. And so if you look at a 90 feet by 10 feet, you're really starting to get close to that 11,000 square feet. The difference is, if I add it to my lot, the people that buy that lot are going to go out there and cut down those trees and do what you do in your backyard. We're trying to provide that natural buffer, which means that some of those lots have to be a little smaller.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other board questions? Commissioner?
One of the individuals that they brought up the concern over the noise pollution coming off of I-4, and nobody seemed to touch on it yet. So if you don't mind, just kind of expand on that a little bit. What kind of consideration that you've given that at this point? Is it just the buffers, or?
Well, sure. It's important to us because we will be building and trying to sell the houses that are closest to I-4 in that instance. So there is, I believe you're familiar with it, there is a wall in that area. We are then placing our open space and buffering up against that area. And then again, to the greatest extent possible, all of these buffer areas will remain as they are now. And so hopefully that will provide some of that mitigation that they have from noise now.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion from the board? Okay, Star, please don't address the applicant directly. Board discussion?
I just have a couple comments. It's always unfortunate for the last one in the door, and unfortunately, this property owner is the last one in the door. And so he's also got the most difficult situation. He's up against I-4, but he's the furthest west of this entire area. I-4 now been expanded, so that makes it even worse. I think the lot size is not impactful at all. I don't think it's significant, the little smaller size, in exchange for the fact that he's up against I-4. And, farthest west to be not impactful to the rest of the neighborhood. And I think they could do a better job, even with the smaller lots, than just stay in R1 AA. So I don't have a problem with the lot sizes.
My only concern is everything here in this whole area is R1 AA. That would be the only thing that would be different. So one of these things is not like the other. It's just leads me to think that if the people that live there don't care about the buffers.
Right.
Well, there was also never one master developer. It was developed like
Oh, in
pieces.
plots. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so it
very
was never,
scattered.
so there's nobody
Large
that
houses, small houses.
tried to do
Yeah.
anything as one unified development.
Right. And we care about the property rights, of course, and the right of this owner to develop their property. But we have to pay some attention to the rights of all the other property owners as well. And I think that 25 lots is a lot for this parcel. I do. I agree with Commissioner Smith. that, I'm sorry, Walter. I agree with Commissioner Smith that I think that the lot size and the number of homes that go on it is more important to the surrounding homeowners than whether or not it's a PD and the buffers. That's what I think I've heard tonight as well.
Yeah, that's the impression I'm getting.
Sorry to cut you off, go ahead.
I agree.
Somebody gonna make a motion?
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners deny the adoption of the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture to PD plan development and deny approval of the associated master development plan and development order for 9.42 acres located approximately 1/4 mile west of the intersection of Virginia and Shepherd Street.
I'll make a second.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Okay. Tammy, you got that? Okay, good. We'll move on to our next item then. Riverside Oaks PD Major Amendment Rezone. Joy Giles, Project Manager, presenting.
Remind everybody here, we're just a recommending body. They need
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, though, that we are just a recommending body. This will still go before the Board of County Commissioners, I believe, at their next meeting. So they'll receive our recommendation to deny it, but you may want to attend that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. I knew you'd think so. I knew that.
Finally. It works. I'm just waiting for them to leave.
Okay. This request is for the Riverside Oaks PD Major Amendment Rezone. Rezone from A1 Agriculture and PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development for a single-family residential subdivision located on the north side of Celery Avenue, a half a mile west of Cameron Avenue. In 2016, the Board of County Commissioners approved the Riverside Oaks PD on 63 acres with a maximum density of 3.5 units per acre for a total of 130 units. The applicant is requesting a major amendment to incorporate an additional 23 acres adjacent to the east into the existing PD with the same density of 3.5 units per acre for a total of 60 lots with the same lot size of 6,000 square feet. The additional phase will access internally from 3 existing streets within the Riverside Oaks Phase 1 development. The site has a low-density residential feature land use designation, which allows a maximum density of 4 units per acre. However, the site is also located within Sub-Area 1 of the Seminole County City of Sanford Joint Planning Agreement, known as the JPA. Per the JPA, Sub-Area 1 shall be limited to a maximum density of 3.5 units per acre. In accordance with the Land Development Code, the JPA, the development will provide a minimum of 15% open space, a perimeter buffer of 25 feet along the east and south perimeter, and the development's going to provide a 40-foot buffer adjacent to the northwest portion of the site. There is a single-family residence there, and they're providing an increased buffer adjacent to that residence. The site is located within the City of Sanford Utility Service Area and will be required to connect to public utilities. There are approximately 3.36 acres of wetlands on the site, which will require a 15-foot minimum, 25-foot overall average wetland buffer. At the time of final plat, the wetlands will be required to be placed in a conservation easement. The staff has determined that the proposed development is consistent with the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan and the JPA and the trend of development in the area. The proposed density of 3.5 units per acre is compatible with the overall area and less intense than the existing LDR, which does allow up to 4 units per acre. The proposed lot size of 6,000 square feet is consistent with the Phase 1, which was approved by the Board of County Commissioners in 2016. In compliance with the Land Development Code, the applicant did conduct a community meeting on November 9th, 2021. Staff recommends approval of staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 to PD and approve the associated development order and master development plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of staff?
Yeah, I've got a question. At what point, I know we keep approving these because the city of Sanford is basically taking these. Is there any plans, I mean, celery is going to burst at the seams here pretty soon if these things keep going in. Has the city had any discussion with staff regarding doing something with celery, widening, expansion of celery? I mean, or is that a city problem and not a county problem?
Well, the widening of celery would be county.
Okay.
And there is a capital improvement project, which is basically a trail addition to Celery Avenue, but at this time, I am not aware of any capital improvement project to widen Celery, although I'm sure it will be looked at.
Well, there's only so many cars you're going to fit on Celery, and we just keep adding to it, and it's just something that I wanted to bring up, yeah. I mean, we're putting turn lanes in every place on Celery, but eventually it's going to have to be widened. I mean, these things, all of Celery is going to be residential, and there's going to be a lot of houses on Celery before we're done.
Oh, well, the transportation master plan is being looked at for updating currently right now for the county.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Trim?
Yeah, Joy, I understand connectivity and all the planning stuff, so you got all the subdivision connecting into the existing subdivision, but still, that's a lot more traffic going in that subdivision. Why not one more access point on Celery just to allow these people so they don't have to drive through the existing subdivision, they can also get out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is that?
So the way that the plan is designed, it would not meet the separation requirements, and it would not line up with, I believe was it Cameron? To the south.
I thought it was Beardall.
Or Beardall, excuse me. So it would not, if they were to put 2 entrances in, it would not meet the separation requirements for the distance between the entrances.
Not the 2 entrances for this same subdivision, you mean the entrance of a road across the street or down the...
Between the same subdivision, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking for you.
No, it's the existing roadway on the south side of Celery.
That's
So
what
we're
I
not-
thought, yeah.
they're
Not the other entrance to this subdivision.
Correct.
It's the one that's across the street that's a problem.
Correct. Yep, and as part of the original Phase 1 subdivision, they did the road widening.
I see that.
With the turn lane, so it
Too bad, because it's just a lot more traffic to run against the people that live there, but that's okay.
yes, correct.
Okay, other questions of staff? Is the applicant present?
Good evening, Jeff Summit with Summit Engineering, 3667 Simonton Place, Lake Mary, Florida. I don't have a presentation for you. I believe it's pretty straightforward. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. All right, I do have 2 comment cards from members of the audience here. The first is Jesse Jackman.
Can you put your other picture back up that you had?
Sure, which
It
one?
shows the river.
Oh, sure, yeah, she's going to be there. Can you put the aerial up?
This one?
Yeah, that's fine. That works.
My name is Jessie Jackman, and I reside at 895 Powhatan Drive, Sanford, Florida, 32771, with Kevin Fitzpatrick.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Just a couple of comments. So the
The first comment is, this property is encroaching on the St. Johns River. I mean, we're really close now. When Hurricane Irma came through, most of this property was underwater. I mean, the river came up 7.5 feet above sea level, and this was all underwater. So I don't know how you take care of that, because the next hurricane, who knows? What Mr. Smith said about the traffic, we keep doing this piecemeal. Celery Avenue is overwhelmed with new developments on Celery, Beard Hall, and all along Celery going into downtown Sanford. I mean, it's ridiculous. We can't keep doing it. The last thing, I'm going to remind you all, Florida's natural choice, right? That's our slogan. It's not going to look like that, right? From the river. This property, you're going to be seeing from the river now. We're getting there. Okay? I mean, it's just, to me, it just doesn't make sense to be that close to the river. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, did you submit a comment card? Could you just give that to staff? Thank you.
Yes, I did.
You won't get in trouble now.
I couldn't remember what I was going to say, so I borrowed it.
All right, next up is Diane Bird.
If you could just leave that graphic up, please. My name is Diane Bird, and I own the property at 3650 and 3670 Celery Avenue, Sanford 32771. So if you look at this graphic, it's the little lines next to the red line indicating those two properties are mine. If you look at the property in red, outlined where the subdivision will be, those are all trees, and they won't be there. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my history here. We bought our property in December of 1981 because it was rural and quiet. Our property has huge live oak trees on it. We own 1.5 acres of old Florida, surrounded by cow pasture. That's the blank part there. It's the last cow pasture in the area. And now subdivisions are crowding us out. We get ads all the time asking us to sell our property, but I don't want to because I love my trees. I feel responsible. We've been there so long, and the trees have been there for well over 100 years. If I sell, they will look like the subdivision right there. That's what happened when they built it. They bulldozed down every piece of green on there. Rats and every other animal fled from there. Rats chewed our pipes, our water pipes, and that caused $10,000 worth of damage to my house that we had to pay for. Not only that, but what this group does is after they bulldoze down all the trees, they burn them. I have severe asthma. They don't care because when they burn that, all of that smoke and all of that ash comes straight to my property because that's where the wind blows, toward the east. And all of the ash fell on our houses, our lawns, and our vehicles. I could barely leave my house because if I did, I was surrounded by the smoke from the burning fires. I don't know if it's proper to ask. I doubt this will be not approved since it already exists next to the one they already built. But couldn't they haul it away instead of burning it and causing me to get bronchitis again? I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask. I've been there 40 years. And I see my way of life threatened on all sides. Not to mention the trail that was already mentioned once. That's coming and taking all of the trees on the front of my property, trees I planted when I moved there. Those will be gone, and it's eminent domain. I cannot do anything about it. So I'm threatened from them, I'm threatened from the front, and I'm being asked to sell my property, and I don't want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Bird.
you.
Mary, do we have anyone online?
Yes, Mr. Thomas Baker. He'll need to unmute himself.
Okay, Mr. Baker, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Thomas Baker, and I live at 3594 Stonebriar Lane. As one of the commissioners noted earlier, there's a concern that we have living on Stonebriar. If you look at the street map that's up there, 100% of the traffic that comes in on that new development side will come through the neighborhood on our street. It will all turn right on Arbordale Loop and turn right again at Stonebriar Lane. So that's 60 homes worth of people that will all turn there at that street corner on our current street. Now it says that there are 3 streets of access, but that's just not how it's going to get used. You can tell by the street map that everyone will turn and use it in that particular way. A second entrance would be the ideal solution to that. I'm not sure if there's any workaround or what can be done to try and create an access point on Celery or slightly off of Celery that would allow access to those 60 homes. But as it's designed right now, which we don't have a problem with the development occurring itself, it's just the access to the homes itself. Every single one of those houses will turn on Arbordale Loop to the right and then Stonebriar Lane to the right. And we just see that as problematic for the amount of traffic on that particular street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mary, is there anyone else?
There's no one else.
Okay, in that case, at this time, we'll close public comment. Did the applicant want an opportunity for rebuttal?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just real quick, in regards to the wetlands, obviously, yes, the property does go quite far to the north, close to the cut and to the pass-through from the St. John's to Lake Jessup. However, the majority of that property is wetlands. We're not proposing to go to the river. We're not asking the county to give us any access to the river itself. So when you look at the actual usable area versus what the total property area is, you can see that a good majority of this property is wetlands and will remain wetlands as such. In regards to the access, yeah, it would be nice if we had that little corner piece so that we had all the frontage on Celery. If we did line up with Beardall, we could work as far as trying to put in a secondary access point, whether it's a primary or secondary, but just because of the way the geometry works, it is quite an offset. And that intersection of Beardall and Celery is really bad for sight distance. So trying to actually add a secondary entrance just wasn't in the cards with the way the property works out. In regards to the internal access, I can't talk to what people are going to do. I mean, we do have an amenity center in Phase 1 through 3, and we actually do have a pullback there. So yes, there will be traffic that will move to the rear of the neighborhood. I can't say that 20%, 30%, people are going to do what people do. People are like ants. They'll find the way and they'll keep doing it. But as far as the internal community, just for everybody's knowledge, Toll Brothers, who was the builder, they did disclose to all the buyers in the community when they purchased their property that there was the potential for future development and there was the potential for connection to those 3 access points, and that's why those 3 access points were put the way they were put. So in regards to those individuals that do live in the community, they were notified beforehand that that was a potential possibility. Thank you.
I've got a question. The property
yes, sir,
to the river, from the red line north to the river, is that part of this parcel? Who owns that? Is that St. John's River that owns that, or do you own all the way up to the actual river itself?
No, what you see in the red line is what our boundary is.
Okay. So who has the land from the red line to the river?
I have no idea. Not me. How's that?
It's privately owned.
Does staff know who owns that?
We could look it up on the property appraiser's
Okay.
website, but I don't
I'm
have that
just
information with
curious,
me right now.
It's, it's getting close, but there's still a pretty good buffer between the subdivision and the river itself. And I might have the same concerns with the river. But anyway, I just want to make sure that's not developable land.
Okay.
So at the back side of your track, is that going to be wetland usage It has to be held as wetland?
I'm sorry, can we put the site plan up? We can go to the map. Which tract in particular?
Because that's the back end of it, where you have track U. I'm trying to look at it.
So, yeah, so tract U is a pond tract.
Okay, and then behind that is,
Open space is tract C.
okay,
And then tract R is our wetland area.
That's
So
your
that is,
wetland.
that, so we have a buffer shown there, that's right where the pin is, that Joey's got, so that's actually a 25-foot buffer on the wetland line, and then everything from basically that pond, from tract U, and then behind RES 6 and RES 7, that's all open space or conservation area.
so the reason I asked the question is, we've been taking down a lot of the live oaks in a lot of these neighborhoods, and what happens is they drink a lot of water, so they help mitigate those wetlands, so they don't flood into the neighborhoods. How much of that is going to be possibly to keep most of those old live oaks without just strip mining the whole place?
The way it's, well, we did some preliminary grading because staff did ask us about compensating storage, floodplain. Those issues obviously come up whenever you deal with the river. So we did do that up front. What you see on this plan, that tract U, that outer line of that of tract U there, that little basically berm, that's my grading limits. At that point, because of floodplain issues, because you're right, that's all actually below the floodplain, that's where we're stopping. Because if I impact that, if I fill that, I have to compensate for it. So we're quitting where you see it on that map, and that's why that map's so detailed. Typically, I wouldn't go to this level on a PD application, but just because of what we're trying to do and because of the sensitivity of the area, we took it a little bit further just so we could show it on the map.
And not to put you on the spot, but the nice lady here asked, is there a way to haul the trees without burning on site? Because it does
Again,
affect
a
neighbors.
tricky issue. So, I mean, there is a burn ordinance that, I mean, fire department keeps track of that. I think in the first couple of phases, we had some days where we had to haul debris because we weren't allowed to burn. I mean, we do go through those seasons as the years go by. I mean, the winds are the winds, unfortunately, and our runways on Sanford face east and west for a reason, because that's the direction the winds are usually blowing in this area. So, I mean, we try to mitigate it. There are requirements, there are restrictions in regards to burning, and we try to adhere to it. But saying we're going to haul it all out is a tall order, and I can't commit to that.
Okay. Just wanted to ask.
Any other questions from the board? Any discussion or motion?
Madam Chair, just to answer your question, there's actually, there was the question on the ownership of the two parcels. They're just private owners, families that own those. It's Mr. McLean family and the Merriweather family.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll recommend, I'll make a motion that we recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture and PD plan development to PD plan development, approve the associated development order and master development plan for 23.08 acres located on the north side of Celery Avenue, approximately a half mile west of Cameron Avenue.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll move on to item number 5, Sanford I-4 Center PD Major Amendment and Rezone. Going to give Joy a break, and Annie Silhouette will be presenting this item for us.
Good evening.
Good evening. Annie Silhouette, Senior Planner for Planning and Development. I will be presenting the Sanford I-4 PD Major Amendment and Rezone. The applicant is requesting a major amendment and rezone from PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development for a proposed commercial subdivision on approximately 8.18 acres located on the northwest corner of Monroe Road and School Street. On September 27, 2016, Seminole County approved the Sanford I-4 Center PD Major Amendment and Rezone. The Sanford I-4 Center PD Major Amendment and Rezone in 2016 combined the Donnie Myers PD, approved on August 14, 2012, and the Lake Monroe Center PD, approved on August 22, 2000. That amended the permitted uses of C2, Retail Commercial, C3, General Commercial and Wholesale, and M1 Industrial Zoning Districts, as well as a master signage plan. The PD has since been developed on Lot 1 with a warehouse for recreational vehicles and outdoor storage. The applicant is requesting a major amendment to the Sanford I-4 Center PD for lots 2 and lot 3 to include 2 additional permitted uses, semi-truck parking and self-storage, and to move the currently approved access from Monroe Road to School Street. The access change is due to the future intersection improvements by FDOT on Monroe Road that will not allow access for direct access on Monroe Road, which is within your packet. The subject property has a higher intensity planned development target industry, HIP TI, future land use designation, which allows a maximum intensity floor area ratio of 1.5 and a maximum 50-foot building height. The intent of the HIP TI future land use designation is to provide appropriate locations that will allow for a mixture of residential and non-residential uses on an individual parcel. For lots 2 and 3, the applicant will be required at the time of final development to provide a tree survey and a statement on how the trees will be saved to make sure they are using the natural features by making the most advantageous use of the topography to preserve mature natural trees. A community meeting for the property was held on October 20th, 2021. Approximately 2 people attended. A copy of the community meeting minutes and sign-in sheet are attached in your agenda package. Based on the aerial photos and the county wetlands analysis, there appears to be approximately 3 acres of wetlands on the subject property. A topographic survey showing wetlands and floodplain delineation will be required at final development plan. If wetlands are discovered, the applicant will be required to show the 15-foot minimum, 25-foot overall average wetland buffer, or provide a mitigation plan. Lots 2 and 3 are required to provide an endangered threatened wildlife study at the time of final engineering. The applicant will be required to connect to Seminole County Public Utilities. There is a 10-inch water main on the west side of Monroe Road and an 8-inch force main on the north side of School Street. The subject property is in the 10-year master plan for reclaimed water. Water and sewer capacity is available to serve the proposed development. The PD proposes Lot 2 and 3, proposes access onto School Street, which is classified as a local roadway. As School Street is classified as a local roadway, a level of service is not assigned to it. The developer will be required to provide a half right-of-way of 35 feet along School Street frontage to accommodate for sidewalk, roadway, and drainage improvements. There is not an existing sidewalk along School Street, so the developer will be required to build a 5-foot sidewalk along the property frontage. The property is part of a permitted master stormwater system. The developer will be required to meet the stormwater permit conditions or modify the permit. The applicant is providing 25-foot external buffers for lots 2 and 3 around the lots facing School Street, Monroe Road, and I-4. The buffer components will be established at the time of final development plan, and they will also be providing 25% open space. The proposed PD zoning designation and the associated master development plan have been evaluated for compatibility with the Land Development Code of Seminole County in accordance with Chapter 30, Part 25, and is consistent with the allowable uses and intensities within the HIP-TI future land use within the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a major amendment and rezone from PD plan development to PD plan development and approve the associated development order and master development plan for approximately 8.18 acres located on the northwest corner of Monroe Road and School Street. That is all. Thank you.
Questions of staff?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes.
The developer will be required to provide a half right-of-way of 35 feet. Are they going to have to pave that right-of-way, or are they just providing it for future improvements made by the county on that road?
Well, no, it's for their own improvements, but what the half right-of-way is just from the center line of the road.
Okay.
So they're going to do their 35 feet on their side. I believe there's probably 20 feet to the south that exists today.
Are they going to widen the road?
They will have to widen the road, yes.
Okay, because if they're going to use it for tractor trailers.
Yeah.
That's why you can't go run trailer trucks on that road. It's a little narrow.
Yeah, no.
That's what I was looking at. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why there was so much
Is that a
additional
house-
right-of-way.
Is that a
Okay.
house on the property, at the end of the property there? in front of the drainage?
Well, is not on their,
It's not on their
you're talking
property.
about where their access is, close
Yeah.
by the access?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not part of their property, but there is an existing house out there.
It's the only house.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Brian Potts, 2494 Rose Spring Drive, Orlando, Florida. And by the way, we did try to buy that lot back in 2012 with the house. They wouldn't sell, so. We agree with staff, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
questions of the applicant? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in favor or opposition to this request? Anyone online, Mary?
No.
Okay. In that case, we'll close public comment, and we'll move to board questions, discussion, or motion.
I'm going to make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from PD plan development to PD plan development and approve the associated development order and master plan for 8.18 acres located on the northwest corner of Monroe Road and School Street.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and the motion carries. That will close our public hearing, and we'll move on to closing business. Mary, we have the 2022 meeting dates and deadlines.
Yes, that was included in your packages and mailed to you, so you would just need to take action on that.
I'll move we approve the meeting schedule as submitted.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the dates are adopted. We did have some discussion before the meeting started, and we're going to postpone the election of the chair and vice chair to next month for a January meeting. Do you need an official motion?
No, it's just up to you, so as long as you're willing to stay chair until next month.
Well, we have plans for Commissioner Turnage, so.
I don't know why we don't just do it.
And then, Mary, you have a report for us?
Yes, just a couple quick announcements. You probably received an email from Tammy. We are having some ethics training on Tuesday, December 8th. It's not required for you all to attend that particular training session, but just for your information, that was included, and I've heard that it is a very exciting and interesting presentation.
Now, we are required.
You're required to have.
We are required
Correct.
4 hours of ethics training.
Ethics training, this particular one you do not have to attend, but it's being provided. We
One way or the other.
Yeah, one way or the other, you got to get your ethics. But we would tend to do a training session in the springtime for this board. So.
Okay, thank you.
And then just a friendly announcement that in January, we will be doing a group picture for the Planning and Zoning Commission. So you may want to dress accordingly.
What are they going to do with that picture?
I have a dartboard in my, we're trying to increase our social media presence and more uniformity, and so just some professional, let the public know what we're doing, so.
So you're suggesting proper
I like
attire?
low profile.
We're going to have to dress like Paul?
He always is very dapper, so.
He does.
So that concludes my report.
Okay. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.